Hi everyone, this is Librarian Maggie here with a fun fall craft for you. If you registered for our craft, you'll have all of these items in your kit, as well as some brushes. For those of you at home who are going to follow along, you'll need a piece of burlap that is going to fit around your jar, a mason jar, some straw, googly eyes, some tan paint. We're using chalk paint. Chalk paint or acrylic is fine. You just don't want to use tempera paint. Same thing for these little guys. You'll need black, orange, and peach, like skin color tone. And we're using a sunflower. You can use any kind of flowers you want. This will be to decorate at the top. And of course your brushes. And we'll need hot glue at the end to glue our accessories on. So we're going to start by painting our jar. We're going to use our chalk paint. You want to get a nice coat on it, make sure it's really covered. And you'll also want to wipe this down before you paint it. I've already done so, just to, make sure there's no dust or anything like that on it. And I'm just going to stir up my chalk paint here. Okay, so you're only going to need to paint up to about here. You don't really want to paint the threads. You don't need to. You're not going to see it anyway, but especially if for some reason you might want to repurpose it one day, or you want to put a top on it and do something else with it. If you have a foam brush, I highly recommend that for doing this. It's just easier for a larger surface, that's all. If you don't have it, you can certainly use any other type of brush. I just find it easier. And definitely with the chalk paint for this, it's just so much easier for really nice coverage. But acrylic paint does work as well. It's not a problem. You can just see how nicely it's coating it. And depending on what kind of paint you're using, you might want one coat or two. The chalk paint covers really well, so it might only take one. And you want to make sure you get the bottom as well. Okay, so I'm just actually going to let this dry, and then I am going to put on one more quick coat. And then I'll show you how to add our eyes, nose, and face on here. Alright, so we are back with our painted jar. Should be all dry now. What we're actually going to do next is glue on our straw and our burlap. That way we can get a good feel for how much space is left for the face. So you're just going to bunch up some of your straw. I just kind of folded it. I looped it over and over. And you're going to get your hot glue gun, and it should stick up a little bit out of the burlap, so we want to glue it about where the threads are. So you're just going to put some hot glue there. And press your straw on. Just be careful that you don't burn yourself. You're not going to get it completely glued down because we're going to glue the burlap around it, and that's going to help hold it in place. But just so we get it on there a little bit, just enough to hold it while we wrap the burlap. And you're going to get your other bunch and do the same thing on the other side. And it is certainly okay if this is a little bit messy. It's going to be. Okay, and you want to make sure that when you wrap your burlap, you get all of the straw in here. So you might want to just hold it close on both sides. And you'll put some glue on the straw here. And on your jar. And just start wrapping it around. You're just going to keep gluing all the way around. Okay, so we'll trim off our extra burlap at the end and our straw here. So now that you've got everything glued in place, we just have to put our googly eyes on and then paint the rest of our face. Okay, so now you want to get your paints out. Gonna need your orange for the nose. We're just gonna paint a triangle. You don't need a lot. And you can let it dry and put a second coat on. And then we're gonna draw a little mouth on it. You can use the black paint that is in your kit, or if you're at home, if you have black paint to use. If not, you can also use a marker, or if you just think that will be easier for you, feel free to do that. If you want, you can add stitching to the mouth, you can add stitching to his nose, add an outline, however you want to decorate it. I'm just going to go really simple with mine. And I'm going to put a black outline around his nose. And you want to make sure your brush is really, really clean for the next color. So dip it in water. Clean it off really well. And we're gonna put cute little cheeks on him. And that's what your peach color is for. All of these steps are optional. You can draw whatever kind of nose, mouth you want on here. If you have additional colors at home that you want to add, that's fine too. So I'm just gonna put some little round cheeks. And there you have your little scarecrow. Once you're done painting him, all you're gonna do is, if you want, add your flower. Okay, so when you're gluing the back, just make sure you get a good amount of glue on here. Want to make sure it stays attached. And you are going to have a little bit of excess. That's okay. We're going to cut that off. And just be careful with the heat. Okay, and while we've got our glue gun still hot, you're just gonna take your flower. You can glue this anywhere that you want. I'm gonna just glue mine at the top here. And now if you've got your scissors handy, we're going to just trim off our burlap at the back here. And now for your straw, you're definitely going to want to trim some off the bottom. It's probably a little bit uneven. And at the top, you don't have to do this step, but I think it looks a little bit better if you cut the tops, your loops if you have any, which you probably will. So now you're all done, unless you want to add the stitching to your scarecrow, which I'm going to do now that everything is dry. So you're just gonna take a little bit of your black paint and just make little marks. And if you're more comfortable doing this with a Sharpie, you can also do that. Or you can just leave it without the marks, however you would like your scarecrow to look. And we can do some on the nose. And there you have it. He's all done. I hope you have all enjoyed this craft. If you're making this at home with our kit, you should have everything you need. If not, and you're watching along and you have any questions, just send me a message, let me know, and I will see you guys in our next video.